It's BvG.
Folks, welcome back to BvG, episode something. It's check us out, got cameras. We tried this before. Scott and I tried this before with Cat versus Dog, not the show. And yeah, we couldn't make it work, but now we got the fancy equipment. We got the webcams, we got the microphones, we got the beer. Scott, what beer?
It's Blue Moon Honey Days. It's delicious. I'm not gonna show you the label because that's
censor it out from sponsor. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's gonna we're gonna do that robot voice again and be like, oh, it's
So yeah, it's been a hot moment. We've actually done a good job of working our way through our 2020 archive, so we're kind of in this new territory. And Scott was like, Carver, webcams. Let's put our I was gonna say ugly and then face and fuck came out. I'm like, nope, stop. My mom listens to this podcast. Mom, that wasn't deliberate. That was an
really?
Yes, she does. She'll call me and be like, Stevie, could a bear actually defeat a gorilla? And I'm like, yes. You should listen to the podcast.
Oh, Janet.
Love you, Mom.
Carver. We love you. I love you too. Thanks for all those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
And all the extra Subway she brought you when we were lifeguarding together.
Yeah, especially the olive and mayonnaise sandwich. That was delicious.
All right. So for this episode, we're doing a versus that is considered one of the big verses. Yeah, like, okay. Yeah. Wobbles versus Pancakes. Goku versus Superman. This one is about two sci-fi individuals strapped in enhancing mechanical armor as they tear through their enemies, and they're both green and they're men of few words. It is the Master Chief from Halo versus DOOMGUY from Doom.
Yeah.
So Scott, you're the one who suggested this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd take it, but it's been suggested through our comment section several times over. Specifically, one of our more rabid listeners is actually a good buddy of mine, Chris. So hello, buddy. You're going to be hearing this one soon enough. Hi, brother. But he threatened me to do this particular episode pretty much. We try to meet up like once a month and just like get coffee or whatever, grab a dinner or something. He's like, I've been pitching you constantly good ideas and you haven't done a single one of them. If you don't do DOOMGUY versus Master Chief, so help me. It's like, okay,
here we are. We'll do it. There's a couple of good ones that we still want to do. We'll do Goku versus Superman in the future. That's a big one. One tossed around was Stuart Little versus Remy from Ratatouille. The Battle of the Rodents. That would be interesting.
Oh yeah. That would be fun. I think we'll have a good time with that. So that one definitely be upcoming. That will be upcoming, everybody.
For now, though, DOOMGUY versus Chief, which is going to be interesting because this is one of those opportunities where we fully realize how well documented both individuals are when it comes to power skills and scales. Where it's like, no, we can measure this one. This one isn't necessarily preference of its, of course, opinion. But because they're both fictional creatures or beings. But that being said, I think we could decide a winner with this one. Scott be repping Master Chief. I be repping DOOMGUY.
At least my guy has a name.
DOOMGUY has a name. It's
what is it?
Let me see. Doom Guy.
His name is DOOMGUY.
His
driver's license says Guy, Doom.
They call him DOOMGUY. He's also known as Doomslayer, which like the game calls, you're the Doomslayer. Though DOOMGUY is like the affectionate name people call him. But Scott, you want to launch this one off with your I guess opening words about Master Chief?
Yes. Old John 117, aka Master Chief. I'm gonna start with just his physique. Let's start with his physique. He's a large and menacing fella. Over 7 feet tall, and I'm quite certain this is including body armor weight, but he weighs 990 pounds.
That's with the armor, yeah.
I mean, I've like, it didn't say with the armor on like the fandom wiki page that I was reading. I was like, well, it's got to be with the armor because that's no 7-foot human being could weigh that much, although he is enhanced. So there's that portion of it. Essentially, he is huge. He is menacing. He is powerful as all get out. He's quick. He's strategic. Like, there's nothing about the Master Chief character, like mentally, like physically, top to bottom, that isn't in quote, and I quote this, superhuman at like it's in every sense of the word. That was how it was described on the page, and as I read through it, I was like, yeah, that's right. The guy, like, everything has been enhanced. Like, his neurons are firing into his armor to make things happen quicker with his advanced reflexes and everything. Like, I'll get more into like the actual armor of it and some of the specifics that are built up from it, but it's just everything about this guy is augmented.
Mm-hmm. No, Chief is this is one of those weird moments where I might bolster your argument by just being a nerd. I love Chief. Chief is like, when you look at Halo in the early 2000s, like, you saw the emergence of a hero for these nerdy millennials like us growing up, where we're like, what? What's it? This is like, I wouldn't say our Star Wars, but it was an important franchise to us. And it also was very important to Xbox. Now, because the entire lore of Halo, I appreciate the idea of, okay, what if it's because humans versus aliens, we've done this before, Starship Troopers, whatever, Star Trek, which isn't versus it, kind of, but Halo is like, what if it's a authoritarian military humanity in the future, 500 years from now, and we run into an alliance of religious aliens that see us as infidels, and it's like, that's interesting. And there's multiple layers to it, you know, the actual general lore behind Halo with the Forerunners, the Flood, but to boil it down, Chief was this super soldier, affectionately named and very well named Spartans, because, you know, when we hear the word Spartan, we're like, oh, you are the strong individual against the hordes of enemy. The odds of winning aren't that great, but man, we're glad we got you with us. Right. And Chief himself being, because something that, like, the Halo 3 said this, because you have this narration where Cortana's like, he wasn't the strongest Spartan, he wasn't the fastest Spartan, he wasn't the smartest Spartan. He had a quality you couldn't really even quantify. He was the luckiest Spartan. And that proved true over and over and over, and took him right to the end of the universe almost. So I have a lot of mad respect for John, and I think he has iron will as well, on top of all the things you mentioned, where he's like, yeah, I think he's actually taller than 7 feet. I think he's like 8 or 9 feet. Or
I'm going off like, so it was official. It was the official report was in centimeters. I don't know why they chose centimeters to measure the guy in. I mean, I have nothing wrong with the metrics, but centimeters is just, that's an awful small unit to measure this guy. So I had to convert it, and it came out to 7.15 feet.
He's huge. Yeah, I know he was a big guy before he went into the suit, because like the augmentation process for Spartans, like half of them die. In the process, and then like
there was 74. Yeah, there's 74 children kidnapped. They actually said the word kidnapped into the Spartan program.
They were.
And during the augmentation procedures, there's only 33 of them that actually well, there's 12 of them that basically just got messed up. Like, they were they couldn't like walk or whatever anymore. Whatever happened to them, they couldn't be used.
They were crippled because of the process.
Yeah, crippled. Yeah. Thank you. But only 33 of them actually came out the other side. Like, they were okay. The rest of them dead out of 74.
And honestly, like, it goes to show you that, like, they never went overboard with the presence of Spartans in the story. They were very much so the scalpel of the UNSC. And it's a story of like humanity's losing this war, but like there's the occasional victory that makes humanity go, yeah, the Spartans are like the heroes of ancient and of legend, and we'll rally behind it. And like, you're right. Like the way the suit connects with Chief, the way it makes him strong, and we can like lift up like a ton or whatever. He can move fast. He can react quickly and use his weapons. Now, this is where we have to. I want to put a pin in this. Whenever we do the verses with Doomguy, because I feel like there's gonna be different versions of this, but there's probably gonna be, I'm gonna say like Chief versus Chief with Cortana, as in like, because a Chief with Cortana is a lot more formidable. Like that's a scary guy. Because Cortana herself is like a supercomputer. She can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, Chief's an imposing guy. Yeah, it's not gonna be easy for Doomguy. Give me 1 second, Scott. I'm gonna check on me real fast. I got a little camera on my phone, and he's just walking around.
Oh, no. Nice. You're just gonna run over across the room, just kind of check his heartbeat really quick, and come back, and yeah, he's not dead. Yeah, so I'm glad you guys, hopefully you guys are enjoying the lore of it. Carver's already kind of just, he's kind of doing my argument for me. Don't tell him I said this. But it's, yeah, I'm hoping I'm going to be using a lot of what he said.
I can edit these parts out. Oh, by the way.
That's fine. I don't mind either. I was just talking anyway, so I don't care.
That's the Doomguy helmet right there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can see it.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome.
All right, so Doomguy.
I have nothing.
Those are some nice drapes.
Thank you. Drapes. Nice white curtains.
Yeah. I like them. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about Doomguy because there's a lot. There's so unlike Chief is rolls from game to game, and we grow with them. And I know Doomguy, there's like different Doom games where it's like, is this a reset? Is this the same guy? Is it a continuation? It's a bit more nebulous compared to Chief, where it's like, we from Halo 1 to Halo Infinite, we know it's Chief, and we grow with him. Doomguy, I'm gonna just wear it on my sleeves. I was familiar with Doom, just being a nerd, not uber nerd, but like knowing like, oh yeah, Doom, the like that kind of thing. And then it wasn't until Doom 2016 where a bunch of folks were like, this is one of the greatest shooters of all time, play it. And I'm like, okay, I'll play it. I'm like, whoa, this is fun. And then I played Doom Eternal, which was even better. And Doom Eternal was a lot more story heavy with Doomslayer, aka Doomguy. So I'm gonna look at the charts here too.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm interested because like I kind of like you're saying, I'm familiar with Doomguy, having heard of him, but I only played like one of the original PC Dooms. Like I like none of the newer Dooms. I've not played them.
They're nuts. They're so much fun.
They looked good. Like I'd watch some like let's plays of them because I knew that they were coming out, and I was like, oh well, this might be really fun to watch. And they were a blast. They looked really cool. But my time spent on the Doom series was like the original PC version, and that was it. That's all I ever had. Not because of anything other than I played it. My dad worked at an office and he put it on his computer and I played it. But after that, I'm like, it just kind of it just was kind of back there, but I never did anything with it because by the time that we had processing power to do something really cool, there's Halo for me anyway. Because I was all over the systems. I didn't do a lot of computer gaming.
So Doomguy, I know there's different versions of him. This says the tallest version was 6 feet tall, 2 inches. Oh no. Well, it says no 6'8". Never mind, 6'8".
6'8".
And then the heaviest he ever weighed was 360. Because I know that Doomguy, so a little bit different because the early Doomguy was basically just a guy with a little bit of armor and a gun.
Yeah, and it was real simple, like just a dude running around, and it was almost like he was very similar to Wolfenstein, just dude with an armor running around. Instead of shooting Nazis, he's shooting demons. Right.
Yeah, Wolfenstein's inspired by Doomguy. Doom, I'm pretty sure it's from the same team. Yeah. So unlike Chief, Doomguy was not as glorified initially, where it's like, no, I'm just a guy on Mars and blowing things up. And I know that there's lore behind it with like, I think he had a family. I know there's a version of Doomguy with a bunny rabbit that like I think was killed by a demon, and
Oh,
because
he's like Doomwick.
right, wow, right. But Doomguy, the big difference between Doomguy and Chief is the following:
Hmm.
Doomguy is chaotic good, which is
Yeah,
kind of rare to
that's
see.
what I said.
Where Doom, and I say good, I say maybe like chaotic neutral. So Doomguy, where Chief can think and strategize and work with teams and be like, what's the objective? Gotta land here. I'll work with Sergeant Johnson, get on the ship, and we'll go do the thing. And I'll
Yeah,
even have, if I have to work with elites too, fine. Doomguy is like, I want to kill all the demons. Just give me my gun, get out of the way.
yeah,
Doomguy doesn't fall back on people's helps unless it's absolutely necessary. And yeah, he's just like a murdering machine. He is just the embodiment of pure rage against hell.
yep.
And I think it's funny because somebody's like, my Sunday school teacher said, "Don't play Doom," and it's like, why? I'm blowing up demons. It's the most Christian thing ever. And it's like, okay, yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
That's really funny.
yeah.
That's, I
Doom,
mean, you're not wrong.
no, Doom guy kills demons. He goes down to the pits of hell. He'll
Yeah.
kill demons. And
I
and
mean,
and
if one of his weapons was like the Bible, then you'd
right,
have it right there. Just
Bible
chucking
man.
Bibles at him. Oh,
So Doom guy, I know like in 2016 and 2019 or 2020, I think it was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. They presented a Doom guy who has more of a power suit with capabilities like being able to have little rocket boots jump in the air.
yeah,
It's more like Master Chief armor where it's like armored around his body. Though I think Chief's armor is a bit more involved, but like Doom, because for where, of course, like Chief physically with his mind being a very like advanced and like thorough soldier, that's important. But also the armor is incredibly important to Chief's success. Doom
yeah,
Guy, it's like no, the person who is Doom Guy is the physical body. The armor just helps. So, in my opinion,
right.
so yeah, those are kind of the stark differences between the two, and yeah, Doom Guy is just straight up like, I want to destroy all demons. He has got like a
Oh,
vendetta against them, all of them.
let me kill all of them. I feel like he would talk without opening his mouth all the way. His just teeth are always
Yeah,
clenched in anger.
he said in Doom Eternal, I think the one thing he said, because they're like, he was like some human soldier, I think from Mars, that was brought to like some like gladiator planet of like gladiator angel beings, and they're like, we found him, and he this guy is like still alive. He's like, his rage keeps him alive, and the guy is like, rip and tear, and it's like that's all he said, and it's like, dude, this guy just wants to kill everything.
Wow, jeez.
Just set him loose on demons. Just set him loose.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't that how like one of the it was either maybe it was a 2016 game. Like I said, I watched one of them. I don't know if I watched both.
So,
But I think one of them literally started out like that same way where like we found him. Like, they were like looking for him, like he was buried somewhere and like we found him. And that was the beginning of the game. It was like you stepping out of the sarcophagus you were in or something, and then you're like, give me my fucking gun.
yeah, right. And there's a trailer where like there's a bunch of guards like, whoa, that's him. He like grabs one of the shotguns from the soldiers, like, give it to me. I'm trying to recall in 2016 because I think I know what, both 2016 and 2020, the games kind of begin with like, you're right, like you got this Doom guy coming out of his ancient slumber, though that was more 2016. In 2020
Was that 2016? Okay.
2020 it carries on where like he's on Earth. There's a big gap in the story from 2016 to 2020 that they explain through like, can you access this little like video file to explain what happened from Mars getting to Earth. But yeah, Doom guys, I and again, I know there's different versions of him throughout, and I won't even begin like the movie stuff. Nah, let's leave that out. With Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Did you watch it?
I watched it with Laura not too long ago. We laughed at it.
Really?
And there's a part where like for 10 minutes you've got like the guy who's Doom guy going to Doom Slayer mode
and going into first person.
Right,
I'm not gonna lie. Tyler and I, my brother Tyler, We both loved that movie. I thought it was
It's so
so
cheesy.
fun.
It's
It's
fun.
so cheesy, but it was
Mhm.
so much fun, especially when it went when they literally went into like Slayer mode. I was like, my mind was blown. I couldn't believe they did that. I was so excited. I was like, they did it. It was one of those things like they knew what they were doing, and they just fan serviced. Like, thank
Right.
you.
That's the thing is most audiences be like, "What's going on?" And which is like I give credit to the folks who made the movie to go, "We need first person. We need the BFG. We need the chainsaw." And it's
Yep.
like, wow, you actually did it. It's even the
Mhm.
fans, I imagine, probably like, it's kind of weird, but like, thanks.
Yeah.
That's how
I
I
thought it was so
feel.
much fun. Yeah. I thought it was so much fun. I remember watching that. I think like I said, like we watched it, we liked it enough that I was like, I think I might actually buy this because I thought it was just so freaking entertaining.
I'm
I
being
never
this
did
here.
buy it.
No, it's a weird movie. I think they made a second one, or did they?
No, did they?
I think they made a
Oh.
remake. That's right. There was a remake back in like 2017, and Doomguy wasn't even in it. It was just the UAC on Mars with a bunch of guards fighting demons, I believe. And everybody was
Oh.
like, "What's the point? What's the point?"
Yeah, like that doesn't. Yeah, that's weird. I would say it's like they were trying to do like a movie version of the game Halo ODST or something, where it's
Dude,
like
yeah.
it's not Master Chief, but it's still pretty cool dudes. And that game was actually really fun.
I liked ODST. It was
It was
fun.
really, really fun. It was because like I said, it's a weird thing to compare because it's a video game, it's a movie, but it's like they were trying to do that and they just didn't do it right. But the video
By
game
the
did it very well.
By the way, it says here Doom 2016 was technically an origin story for Doomguy, where it has him awakening. He was chained to an altar in a UAC basement on Mars. So I guess, yeah, it's starting to come back to me. The UAC discovered him, and the guy who's in charge of the UAC on Mars is like, "We found you, and we knew that if things ever really hit the fan, that you're the answer. Like, we'll have to bring you back because we know that you did it once before. You'll do it again." So,
Interesting.
you want to get into the versus stuff now?
Yeah, that was just gave it a lot of background. I like it.
It's fun. We know this stuff. It's fun. I'm sure there's some Doom fans who are like, "Save it." Carver doesn't know what he's talking about.
You big dummy.
So I'll tell you this right out the gate. I think if we're talking about 2016 or 2020 Doom guy, Chief's done for.
Mhm.
And I'll tell
Really?
you, and the reason why, weapons. I
Mm.
My biggest gripe in Halo is that it's like, wow, Chief's gonna save humanity, and I'm like, yeah, but like, where are the really cool weapons? Like, I know there's a Spartan laser, and I understand why there's like the pistol, the assault rifle, the rocket
Yeah.
launcher, and they all serve their
That
purpose.
pistol
And
was really good though.
you know, true, maybe if Chief can shoot Doom guy in the back of the neck, but like Doom guy is just. I feel like if Chief and Doom guy ran into a room together, Doom guy, if they had a fight, Doom guy would be like, "Give me a weapon. I'm gonna just run circles around this guy and just keep shooting at him relentlessly until he breaks."
Hmm. But like what so what weapon are you talking about? Because the weapons I remember best about Doom, and again, my time playing Doom is extremely limited, but like it was a pretty standard run. There was the BFG was like the standout weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, wasn't it like shotgun, assault rifle?
Yeah,
There
to
was a
be
pistol
fair,
if I'm not mistaken. And like
you're
it was a pretty standard run.
yeah, and I think it's because like game mechanics demand like, oh, we need particular staple weapons, but there is
Right.
like the combat shotgun, which in 2020 it's great. They actually have a hook mechanic where you just like you know how Zelda has or how Link has his little
I know
like
what you're talking about, yeah.
shoots the claw out with the chains and he pulls
Yeah.
himself.
Uh-huh.
There's one of those on the combat shotgun in Doom 2020, Doom Eternal, where you can shoot the hook into a demon and pull yourself closer to it. And here's the big difference between Chief and Doomguy. There's a few, but here's a big one. If Doomguy gets close to you, you're in danger. Where I think Chief wants to keep like unless Chief has a laser sword,
Mm.
or unless Chief has some kind of very good up in your face weapon, maybe a shotgun, probably the laser sword's the best bet. But like Doomguy thrives in your face combat. He's got something called glory kills, where like if a demon's dazed like from being blasted, he's like, oh, he kind of flashes orange, and Doomguy will run up and just rip it open. So
Right, I remember that. That was pretty awesome.
it's because the mechanics of, we're talking about the game mechanics. Halo does not move anywhere as fast as 2016 Doom or Doom Eternal, because that stuff is like you slow down, you die. You're constantly moving, constantly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, you're able to move at a more methodic pace with Halo because I think it's mainly because the atmospheres are so much. Well, maybe I'm not going to say so much more detailed, but I think they're designed to create like an actual like you're lost in the woods kind of thing, and not necessarily here's a guy every 6 feet or
Well,
whatever.
it wants you to. Its pacing is slower. That's not a bad thing. It's not like it's not like fast in your face pacing equates to good necessarily.
Yeah.
Chief is
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. One of the big things that they talked about as a strength from Master Chief is his ability as a strategist, and I think the game is designed to set that up for you. Not
you're
necessarily
right.
that he's running strategy, but you as Master Chief playing as him, it's that slower pacing will allow you to probably see the guy the wow I just
Doom guy.
blanked. Well, not Doom Guy. No, no, no. Master Chief would be able to see
The
the
Covenant.
Covenant. Thank you, the Covenant down the map a little bit, and then he can select. Like maybe he could go find that sniper rifle that he found that was on the ground or whatever. Because there's always something laying on the ground for Master Chief somewhere
Always.
because that's part of his luck. There's
I
always something.
That's a good point. If Doom if okay, I guess it depends on the engagement. If this
It
is
always
some
does.
right, well, because if Chief has certain weapons to go into the fight, knows what the fight is about, and not even just weapons, but like, because I'm thinking like Doom guy, like I feel like the BFG is so overpowered that we'll put that to the side because that's just an instant kill, and that's not fair. Let's put that away. Let's talk about like the combat shotgun or the sniper rifle for Doom guy, or I'm trying to think of some of the other weapons. It's been a moment. Good gracious me, there's like this there's cool like mods you can put on weapons too, where there's one where it's like a laser sniper rifle, or you can turn it into a buzzsaw that cuts the demons in half, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
So there's some variety. It's fun, but also there's a version of the rocket launcher that locks on. Here I am bashing Chief with this rocket launcher when Doom guys got a rocket launcher. So I apologize, Chief. I should have thought better before speaking. If Doom guy has to drop on Chief, it's over. I think Doom guy would just chainsaw him. Would the chainsaw pierce the armor?
I don't know. It was said that could be a weakness to an extent that there was ways kind of around the armor, just like probably like little like gaps so he can still move things. Like you can't have one solid piece. You can't bend your elbows.
He's
Like, there
just
would
like,
be. I'm gonna shoot you.
yeah, right. Just T-posing across.
Here's the thing, though. So you mentioned the glory kills for Doom Guy. As I recall, in one of the last
Halo Reach, are you talking about with the glory kills?
Yeah, they still had him. So kind of. So I'm like, if it wasn't exactly that,
there were assassinations. Like, you get behind you.
There's these assassinations. There's the assassinations. You can get behind him and stuff like that. I think so. There's still like that instant kill up close in your face ability. And Master Chief on record is considered a master of hand-to-hand combat. So Doom Guy, in my experience, which is limited, but having watched some of the Let's Plays about it, he runs in there and just like, I'll rip you in half. I'm like, I'm not saying he couldn't do that, but I don't think it would be quite so easy seeming with a 7-foot, 900-pound guy in armor, even if he's been shot up a lot. Like you don't rip something that big in half.
To be fair, it's been in the game. Doom Guy tears through things that are like 30 feet tall all the time, but it's also like big fleshy demons as well.
Well, that's kind of my point. Like these demons, as I recall, like I don't remember any of them having notable armor. They were just tough. I mean, it's a
They
demon. It's tough
they're
skin or something. I don't know.
they're kind of augmented. Like yeah, they're biologically tough, but like they're also like some of them have like weird armor patches or tubes shoved in them so they can like shoot
Right.
lasers too. But
Right.
they're not
So
as well armored as Chief.
right. So the
Hmm.
running up and ripping through Master Chief, I don't think that would happen. I think they would end up. I think they would end up just beating the living crap out of each other until both their shields are depleted or something. I'm like, it would be hard. It would be. I would be hard pressed to come up with an exact outcome if they were just right on top of just. You know
Look
what
it
I
up.
mean? I all I know is that with Master Chief, the reason I would give the edge to Master Chief, and this is just based off of the reading, is that he even without the armor, his muscles having had been enhanced, he could already lift 3 times his body weight. And
I
then
just
add the armor to like increase that strength further, and it said go ahead and double that. So I'm like, if he's punching you full force with his 6 time body weight armor punches, I'm like, that's gonna be hard to to get back up from, or to take easily. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it probably wouldn't even come down to a punching contest between these two
so
guys.
I wonder if Doomguy could punch through Chief's helmet. Maybe. I don't think the Chancellor would work on Chief's armor because that stuff is like really really tough. I mean, it was enough to survive through atmosphere drop. Um,
Yeah.
that being said, also you can die to lasers and bullets in Halo 2, Halo as well.
Yep.
But that's also like there's a certain part where it's like story versus game. Like, oh, of
Yeah,
course he has to
exactly.
die to bullets. It's the mechanic of the game. Versus like, okay, let's go into the lore of it all. And in that, it's like if someone shot a shotgun at Chief, the bullets probably just like either be absorbed or bounce off.
Mhm.
So to be supremely fair, I don't think the chainsaw would break through Chief unless there's already an opening somewhere.
Right.
And I was looking it up. I'm like, there has to be something, and I did discover something. I recall it now. I'm like, oh yeah. There's something called the Crucible Blade. The Crucible.
Mm.
Oh my god, the Crucible Blade, which is like a legendary sword. You get that later on Doom 2020, and it can cut through anything. So I think that might be the ticket because Doomguy. I don't think Doomguy's armor is as good as Chief's. But I also think that
I don't think
Doomguy
so
is more
either.
capable.
Here's
Well,
one thing I want to offer up. And I wouldn't it probably would help your argument more than my own, but it was something I was thinking about. And this is strictly through gameplay. Is that the one thing that I always found was like interesting with, or at least with comparing these two, was that as I recall, with Doom Guy, as you'd play the game, you'd have a armor measurement up to 100%, and then
mm-hmm.
more when you get special pickups. But then you'd also have your health measurement, right?
Hmm.
So when you deplete armor, you still have some left. Your body still takes hits and you don't just die right away, right? Like there's always that health bar that just kind of slowly depletes.
It's like health and also shield in the bottom left of the seat
Yeah,
node.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying, is that what you have that in the Doom Guy, you don't have that with Master Chief. Like when his shield's gone, like I'm just talking about gameplay here again. I'm not basing this off of anything I've read in lore. I'm just going off of
Yeah,
gameplay.
yeah,
Like once your shield is depleted, you only get like a few hits and you're dead,
yeah.
as I recall. Like you don't get that much. Once your shield's down, Master Chief kind of just is like, bleh. But with Doom Guy, it's like your shield's down, but you stir at 100% health. You're still able to take some good hits until you go find a health pack or armor somewhere in the playing field. And that doesn't help my argument with Master Chief at all. But I found that it was just an interesting thing that I thought of. I was like, that
I
might that might cause a little like shifting right there if you want to think about some level of like actual video game played toughness. You know what I mean?
the yeah, and I don't know if this is fair or not, but like both in Doom and Doom Eternal, you can get like 3 abilities that you can like mix and match. Where it's like, oh, I want to have this one of the 9 that are available. And there's
Right.
one called Last Stand, where and I feel like this is too mechanic heavy to be fair to Chief, because in this one, let's say some demon just lands an excellent hit on you and you're dead. It actually takes you down to 1% health, and you're invincible for the next 5 seconds in slow motion, so you can recuperate one last time to get on your feet, which is incredibly important to have in the game in hard mode. But
Sure.
I feel like I feel like that's too mechanic heavy to be fair to Chief, because if we're breaking it down to just general lore, Chief is skill and nerve. Doomguy is just straight up unbridled rage and adrenaline. Like, I'll just keep
Yeah.
coming at you. I don't think Doomguy's stupid, but I would
No.
definitely say Chief is more intelligent and strategizes and thinks things through, where he's like, I'm gonna really take everything into account. So it's weird. I'm not trying to like go into the final discussion phase of our fight, but like, this is my thought. I'm curious what you think. If Chief had a debriefing of Doomguy and they both meet face to face, and Chief has the information and has weapons and knows the battleground, I think Chief could win it. But if it's a happenstance encounter where Chief's like, what's happening? Doomguy just comes out of the ceiling and Doomguy's like, coming at him. I think Chief would be like, what's going on? My God, like, this guy is nuts. Like, why is this? What's this rogue Spartan doing or something? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I think if Doomguy has a drop with the right weapons, especially the Crucible, because if Doomguy has a Crucible and comes up after Chief, I think Chief could dodge a few attacks, but Doomguy will eventually get his hands on Chief, and Chief probably doesn't know about the Crucible and would be like sliced in half.
Perhaps. I will say, I think that's a fair argument to make. Like, it's hard to stop somebody who lives essentially on super adrenaline. Like,
And
they
pure
don't
anger.
yeah, adrenaline and anger. I'm like, they don't feel a lot of pain. Um, but I still like the thing that I think can really this particular in this particular engagement that you just
Leashed
unveiled
upon
for
us.
us, unleashed upon us. Yes, thank you. Um, the thing is that like the I, don't- I don't know if that's diving too much in the mechanical, kind of like you're saying, but like in again with like the Halo Reach stuff, like he had those abilities to like do little like jet slides and like jet packs, like so I'm like it would be other than the fact that Master Chief has enhanced speed, which makes him obviously just faster. I believe Doomguy probably has enhanced speed too. So
They all
they
do.
maybe they completely
It'd
equal
be
out.
like super fast armor, like Dragon Ball Z. Not as fast as DBZ, but still like fast soldiers
Yeah,
fighting.
it would just be fast. I'm like, they would just constantly be like, because I mean, if he's like you said, if he's swinging the Crucible blade all over the place, and Master Chief keeps dodging and like getting in a punch in there, something like a little assault rifle butt to the head while he's swinging that sword, like they're just gonna keep bouncing all over the room if he jetpacks over here or jetpacks over there. It's just I don't know. It keeps in my mind. It comes out to so many different stalemates because it's like they come time of like you said 2016 and Doom Eternal. Like they, it's not that I say they totally did, but it's like they looked at Master Chief. It's almost like they were expecting this argument to arise, and they're like, oh. Somebody's gonna compare Master Chief to Doomguy. We need to make Doomguy like let's get
They
him the armors. Let's
they
get him
buffed
the
them.
I
They
think
they
yeah,
buffed
they
them.
did. They buffed them up, and that's not there's nothing wrong with that. They made the games extremely fun, but I'm like, it's almost like they saw this coming. So,
They made it. They made a game not to make money or make a good game, but they're like, so there, Bungie.
yeah, take that, Microsoft. I'm gonna
I
be harder than you, micro hard.
right. So I stand by that. My final assessment on this verse is that if Doomguy has a drop on Chief with the Crucible, and if because here's another big thing that Doomguy has on Chief. Doomguy, every weapon he gets, he holds on to. Chief is limited by weapons, so Chief would need the perfect combo of weapons to deal with Doomguy. I'm thinking maybe Spartan Laser, or he definitely needs that bubble shield to absorb some hits. because Doom
Yeah, he'll
Guy's
need
also
to pop up shield. Also, I was gonna say like one thing that would help him is if he had like either the over shield power up.
yeah,
So
we
you
like
pick that
hits
up
the
and just have
ground.
300. Yeah, is 300% shield, and on top of that with the power drain that he could throw at him. You know,
Power Drain would be worthless because, well, no, he's got a shield. Never mind. You're right.
he's got a shield,
Um,
right? So I'm just saying, like it's one of those things like those, but those are like accessories you'd have to pick up. You know, it's like it's not just a perfect combination of weapons; it's
no,
a
no, no.
perfect combinations of everything.
We can give Chief the preferential treatment of at least having weapons. If Chief goes into a fight with a good setup, I think that would be a pretty even fight that Chief could win. But if
Mm.
Doom Guy once more comes out of nowhere and has the drop on Chief, I'm pretty sure it's over. Now, and all of this has to do with like if let's say weapons are dropped completely. There's no weapons. It's just armor versus armor. That would
I
be technique versus raw like power.
Yeah. Again, it's like it depends on whose armor would outlast the other one. And I'm like,
Hmm.
that would be here's in the long run. Now, one thing I will say, like with this is lore stuff I'm going into now. So one thing that I noted in particular was that uh in their procedures, the augmentations procedure, Spartans were given artificial platelet injections.
Yep.
So it slowed their bleeding and helped them to clot wounds faster. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, so he's not going to bleed out. So there you go. But in particular, the big emphasis, which you already said for Master Chief, is luck.
Yep.
He was just unnaturally lucky. So I think that is and you know, take this with us. Anybody out there can argue, well, luck can only get you so far. It's like, it's true, but luck took him very far. So what I'm essentially saying is with Master Chief's luck, he would get and have the exact weapons he needed. You know what I mean? To do it. Or whatever field of battle they're in, his luck would have him walk up on that one thing he needed. You know what I'm saying? Essentially,
You're right. You're
that's
right.
it. I really think that because of that particular lore additive in the Master Chief character, his just innate luck, that no matter what, he would still come out on top. Because I think as you play through the games and stuff, he isn't always super prepped for everything. By the end of every game, he's like lost Cortana or lost contact with the Marines or whatever it is. Somehow he's lost something or suddenly dropped through a portal into the flood. Like he isn't always
He's good
prepared,
at
but he
adapting.
always comes out. Yeah,
Yeah.
he always comes out on top.
I'm looking at my
So
other monitor here at some like just opinions online, just to
yeah.
kind of check the pulse, and I'm surprised a lot more folks vying for Chief. Well, there's one person saying that I would say this is from Fallen Pairs on the Who Would Win subreddit saying I
Mhm.
would say depends on if Chief's armor can take a Gauss shot. If so, Chief takes 9 out of 10. If not, would say 50-50. Here's reasonings. Doom Guy can't use BvG on Chief. In game, it says it works well. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Doom Guy needs a direct hit with a slow moving projectile. Sorry, I'm just kind of I'm reading through this
Yeah, that's fine.
Actually, you know what? Instead of just quoting this verbatim, I'll just give you the broad strokes. A lot of folks say that Chief's technical, because Chief was trained from childhood to be like the perfect soldier,
Yeah.
versus new Doom Guy, who has been fighting in hell because he's so angry. He's too angry to die. That's what they say. He's too angry to die. That
That'll be me.
for thousands, yeah, right, for thousands of years or something like that, or at least hundreds, he went to hell and he refused to die there, and he just unleashed himself upon hell. So it's like, yeah, because you got one guy who's like all talent versus, and I'm not saying that like it's like book smarts versus street smarts, where
Right.
Doom Guy's like, oh, I've been ripping demons' heads off for hundreds of years. I'm pure rage. I don't need your tactical mumbo jumbo. Just give me a gun, give me a demon, I'll murder it. And I'll just, through brute force and rage, I will win. Chief's like, no, strategize. What's the situation? What's my abilities? What do I have? The soldier, the tactician, the strategist. I need to figure this out. I can also adapt and move quickly because adapting is important. But I also am constant. It's like, wow, Kong versus Godzilla, where Kong's like kind of like contemplating. That's, I think it's Chief. Chief looks around. What's going on? We gotta take it all in. While Godzilla's all pure like nature and like. Well, I think the same thing with Doomguy, where he's like, I'm more reactionary than proactively figuring things out.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Doomguy's a fire you set and say destroy, while Chief is more like, he's not the fire, he's like a lightning rod or a lightning bolt, where it's like you can guard, you can aim that. Nah, that's a bad example. He's like a tornado.
His lightning bolts.
You're right. So that's my final assessment, my friend. Is that if it was I know I said it for the fourth time. If Doomguy has the drop, then I think he can win. If Chief knows what he's getting into, I think he can win. If it is like bare hands fighting, I think Doomguy, who thrives on like hand-to-hand combat, would win, maybe. But this is a close fight. This is I'll tell you this though. These are the kind of guys where like the Covenant invade a planet and then some portal of hell opens and a bunch of demons come out, and then Doomguy kills the demons and Chief and Doomguy team up to just destroy the Covenant or something.
Oh gosh, yeah, you just started a fanfic right there.
I'm sure it already exists, and then they kiss afterwards. Put their helmets back down.
Yeah, they just rub helmet screens. That's all they do.
Like Inuit noses.
One other thing I'd like to add, actually in favor probably of the Doomguy, that you said without, I think you said it without really just making this the focal point, is that it sounded like Doomguy he has the ability to just decide not to die. Which we know that Master Chief doesn't have that. You could die in the game. I mean, you can die in the game and in Doom, of course, but you can. But it's just kind of like with lore-based stuff. Like this is still, Master Chief is still a guy. He's still a mortal human being. Doomguy somehow has the ability to be like, no, I'm so mad, I'm not dying, and he's been doing that for a bajillion years. So as he said, for like 1,000 years in hell, he's like, no, I won't die. I'm gonna keep clenching and keep my heart up.
Right. Well, I mean, I think armor-wise, Chief takes it when it comes to.
Yeah, I really think the armor of the Chief has is better armor.
It is.
I also think maybe more futuristic. I don't really know what the setting of Doom is. It's definitely like future.
Humans are on Mars. They use something they called Argent energy, which is because hell's a real place in this game. They found a portal through Mars, and they use the energy of Mars through its souls to make basically clean, free, infinite energy for humans. But you're kind of playing with fire because the demons are like, oh, we're gonna invade you now because you unleashed hell. And then the humans are like, what do we do? Doomguy. Like, Doomguy will save us all.
Yes.
So it's a lot. I think, I think ultimately Chief and Doomguy would be like that and be like, let's kill some monsters.
Yeah, they do a secret handshake that somehow they just innately knew. Yeah, and that would be it. That's how they killed all of them at once. They just fist bump, and a shockwave would be sent into space and down into hell at the same time.
Right.
And just obliterate everyone and everything.
Chief's like, we won, and Doomguy's like, must find more to kill. Just he's always constantly looking for the next fight. Always looking for the next fight.
They should, if they do a fanfic and publish it or something, they should do it to where it's the two arms looking like they're about to arm wrestle, just like in that movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone. So it's just like, like
right.
Kind of
or it's like in Predator with it's like Dylan, you son of a beat, in the Carl Weathers and Arnold doing the. So
that's right. Yeah, with their massive biceps.
Two sci-fi tech green soldier boys, one who's pure, like Rage, the other one who is all like the quiet, thoughtful, not thoughtful, I guess.
Oh, he's so thoughtful.
He's like, he buys you a drink. No, but the guy who's like all, he's got iron nerve, and he's calm, cool, collected, a man of few words, but he's always like ready to get the job done. So yeah, I guess that's where we're ending it. Doomguy.
Yeah. This is been a good versus. I mean, we
stalemate.
haven't been mad at each other, but I'm like, it's another good one. It's like you guys, you sweet fans out there, you guys have to decide.
Dude, this is gonna be fun for
really
thumbnail
do.
art. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's like you have to decide this one. Like it feels so much like a stalemate through Master Chief's innate luck and Doomguy's
Innate rage.
yeah, but just choosing not to die, which I guess that's a thing. Like,
yep,
nah,
too angry to die, man.
Not today.
Well, it's like send Doomguy to hell, and hell's like, no, we don't want him. Send him to heaven, which technically there's like an alien version of heaven, and he kills all that too. Like there's a bunch of aliens who are called like they actually, there's been a war between the two, and it's that's another can of worms. But like all in all though, green sci-fi boys fighting, I'm here for it. Both great games, and also amazing soundtracks. Love them.
Oh yeah,
but
I love that. Halo soundtrack good. So good. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this time. Hello.
Yes, sir. And we will be back with Stuart Little versus Remy from Ratatouille in the next one. That's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be so much fun. All right, guys. Bye.
See ya.